Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're doing this. I'm really delighted to be here this morning. I'm going to work on chair yoga this morning. I'll throw away the dog toys because my dog thinks that my yoga mat is his playpen. Okay, so here we go. Now I'm putting my feet on the block. I don't because some women and men have short legs, and if you have short legs and your feet don't quite reach the floor, do put your legs on a block or a book or something because we want to kind of push into our feet. So just to demonstrate that, it's a possibility here. And uh, I haven't got a particular theme this morning, but I did find this quote which I really liked, and this is from the Jungian Joseph Campbell. We cannot cure the world of sorrows, but we can choose to live in joy. So I guess that is my theme, is how can we live in joy in times of sorrow? And one of the ways we can do that, I think, is to be present to ourselves and to feel that we have an opportunity with every breath to be present. So I'm just going to put my hands on my thighs, my feet on the floor, and I'm sitting in what I call what yoga people call neutral spine. So it's not leaning forward. Often we jut our chins out, so we can sort of draw our chin in a bit, and it's not slouching back in the chair. It's really sitting up, feeling that lovely magnanimous puppeteer is pulling the tip top of our crown chakra at the top of our head up towards the ceiling, and we feel ourselves lengthening towards the ceiling, and we can press our feet into the ground. We can even spread our toes if we can. We're going to work with our feet and our hands because I'm older, depending on what era I'm living in. I'm old in some eras and older in another, but I do have quite arthritic bits of me, so I know others do too. All right, so we're just sitting in neutral spine. We found a place. We feel our shoulders moving down our back, and we're just going to inhale and exhale here and feel the beauty of our breath. So we're inhaling, and we're feeling it come down into our belly, and then we're going to exhale. In fact, we can put our hands on our belly, and then we're going to exhale. In, out. In, out. And if you like, you can you can close your eyes and focus your gaze inwards. So we're just inhaling and exhaling into our belly. Now we're going to move our hands up to our side ribs here, and we're going to inhale and exhale into our ribs. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Now I'm going to take my thumbs and I'm going to hook them under my armpits like I'm doing one of those dances, and put my hands on my upper chest. I'm inhaling into this upper chest and underarm. Inhale, and then exhale. Inhale, and then exhale. Inhale, and then exhale. So we're going to feel our breath come into our belly, and then into our mid ribs, and then our upper ribs. So we're going to fill ourselves up like we're filling a glass of water. So we're breathing into our belly, and then our middle ribs, and then our upper ribs. And then we're exhaling from the top down. Okay, so it's a three-part breath. So inhale, belly. Inhale, side ribs. Inhale, upper ribs. And then let it all out. You can sigh when you breathe out. Okay, inhale. 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 Good. Now we can just breathe easily here. Regular breathing pattern, whatever that is. Try not to speed up too much. And remember that beautiful quote, we can't solve the sorrows of the world, but we can find joy in every moment or some variation thereof. Good. Now I'm just going to use my hands and I'm going to lift my arms up, inhaling, and then I'm going to lower them down. And I'm pressing out with my hands as I lower down. So I'm lifting up, and then I'm pressing out my palms as I lower down, really pressing, and I'm exhaling. So I'm inhaling up, and then breathing out and pressing out as I lower down. Good. And one more time, breathing up, and then pressing out with my hands as I lower down. Good. And we'll do it one more time. Why not? Okay, up, inhale, and then exhale as I lower down. Good. Now, I think I'm going to just roll my shoulders back really leisurely, like I'm sitting on a lakeside shore or maybe an ocean beach, and I'm just feeling the sun beating down, and I'm rolling my shoulders back. And I'm really feeling, when I'm rolling my shoulders back, I'm really feeling I'm moving up, and then I'm moving my shoulder blades together and pulling my shoulders back, and then I'm lowering them down. Moving them up, moving your shoulder blades together, and then lowering them down. Oh, excellent. I find myself finally awakening. Okay, now I'm going to do the other way. Shoulders together, shoulder blades together. Let's just hold it here for a minute. Good. You're really feeling your shoulder blades. And now you're going to lift up, and then you're going to move your shoulders forward and drop them down. Good. And we're going backward, bringing our shoulder blades together, lifting up, and then we're moving down. Of course, in chair yoga, you may have different abilities, and you might find this difficult. So the point of chair yoga or any kind of yoga is to move with your own body's abilities at this moment. And you don't want to overstrain yourself. So you might feel a little discomfort, but you certainly don't want to feel pain. And if you have particular problems, you know the limits of those problems. I had a woman in class the other day who had some kind of fracture in her lower spine. So of course, flexion and bending over and touching her toes was really not on the table. So you have to know what your limits are. All right, so here we go. We're going to do some more shoulder. Now, I like doing my shoulder until they're kind of exhausted, because not that they're painful, but I hunch over screens all the time, and I really need to work out my kinks in my shoulders and my shoulder blades. Okay, that's probably enough. Now, I'm just going to jiggling, as my friend Marianne says, having done a documentary on something or other. Jiggling is good, and it shifts the metabolism, gets all of our, my friend Dan, who's really a funny, very tall man, he calls it the wiggles and jiggles. So, wiggly jiggly. Okay, there we go. All right, now, and we're going to do some tapping just to get ourselves in touch. Because really the purpose of yoga is to get our mind, our body, and our heart connected up. So I'm just tapping my thighs here, and I'm tapping my rather ample buttocks here. They're in the back. Then I'm tapping up my back as much as I can. Then I'm tapping around to my little belly and up my chest. Then I'm crossing my arms over. I'm tapping my shoulders and my hands. And I'm just cupping my hands here. My hands just to tap with my fingers. I'm tapping the front of my hands, tapping the inside of my arms, inside of this arm. Then I'm going to tap up my head. And I'm really going to tap my head because I tend to be overly thoughtful. That is, I'm a worrier. So tapping my head to remind me that my head, my brain is situated under the skull with skin and bone, and it's all attached to other skin. Here we go. All right. Now, keep on tapping, and you can move down your leg. And my friend Marianne Raymaker is just in class, so I'm going to admit her. All right. So we're tapping down our legs, we're tapping our feet. We can even lift our foot up. We can tap our foot and tap up the inside of our leg. We can tap our groin, and we can tap the other side of our leg. There we go. All right, here we are. Wiggle, jiggle, more wiggling, jiggling. And now we're all connected up. One giant piece of skin over top of fabulous organs and bones. All right, good. Now, I think we'll just do a twist here, because we've been sitting in our chair. And for Marianne, who's just arrived, we're sitting in a chair and we are finding our neutral spine again. And we're feeling, do we feel anything different than we did a moment ago? I feel a bit more alert, actually, because it's dawn here where I live in Alberta. Okay, now we're going to turn around and I'm going to put my hand on my outer thigh, or if you have an arm of a chair, put it there. And I'm hooking my other shoulder over the back of the chair, and I'm just twisting here. So I'm looking over my shoulder, and I'm just breathing here, and we're remembering that we did that beautiful breathing at the beginning. So we can try and inhale to our belly, and then our midrib, and then our upper rib. And you can tell when you're twisting, it's a bit more difficult. And then we're exhaling. And I like sighing. I think sighing is good. It gets all of the sorrows and confusions in me out in the open. Okay, here we go. Inhale. And then we're going to inhale. And now we're going to turn around the other side. I'm going to I could hold on to actually the bottom of the chair here. And I could hook my hand over here and press into the back of the chair. So you have something to really move you. Now, if you have, serious problems with your spine, you have to be careful and not do too much of the twisting. But you know your own limits. You are your body's best teacher. And we're just breathing here, inhaling and then exhaling. Inhaling and then exhaling. Inhaling and then exhaling. And now we're coming back to the front. We're sitting down here. We'll go one more time here. Back one to the other side. Inhaling and exhaling. We'll do 5 breaths here. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. And one more time the other side. 1, inhale. 2, 3, 4, Now, we're going to work a little bit on our neck. Some of you may have neck problems, so you have to be careful of what you can do, find your own limits. But I find that this really helpful. So we're just going to tip our ear to our shoulder, and we're just going to rest here. Now, I love yin yoga. You may not know yin yoga, but yin yoga is really about endurance, like staying for time. So we're not going to stay for 3 minutes in this position. But the principle is that your muscles can stretch and that your connective tissue can stretch. And it takes some time for your connective tissue to get the drift of the movement. And so staying for a little bit longer in a particular pose is helpful. Now, if you feel excruciating pain, come up and don't do this. All right, so we're going to come up and then we're going to drop the head to the other side. And it's a very gentle, this is a very gentle movement, but your head is heavy and gravity plays a little part in this too. So it does provide a little extra stretch to stay here. And we're just breathing again, inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. And now we're going to come back up, head up. Once again, that really beautiful puppeteer who wants us to be happy, healthy, and wise is holding our head up in a neutral spine. And now we're going to drop our head to the front, our chin to our chest. And we're just going to let I'm letting my double chin have a nice massage here, just for a moment or two. And we're breathing, and we're staying present. And now we're going to lift our head up and let it and drop our head back. So our chin is in the air. And we're breathing here. And we're going forward. And now we're going to go back. And forward. And back. Forward. And back. And now our head is once again in neutral. And we're really feeling the elongation of the spine. And we're feeling the tip top of our head rise. Now I'm going to do this diagonal movement. So I'm dropping my head to the side and I'm kind of moving the diagonal of my neck up towards the sky. And my eyes are looking up. My head is not moving, but my eyes are looking up. And at the same time, where my head is dropping to one side, and the neck is exposed. Where the neck is exposed, I'm pulling the skin down on that side of the neck. If you want to look at me, I'm just pulling the skin down here. Gives a little bit of an added stretch here. And I don't know why, but this is really good for my neck. Okay, and now I'm coming up, and then I'm going to tip it to the side again, and then I'm going to move it sort of to the diagonal, and my eyes are looking up, and then I'm pulling the skin down on the side where my neck is exposed. And I don't know why, but it helps me. So someone taught me this, and I think it's really quite a good thing. And now we're going to come up. So we're going to do this a couple more times. So once again, head to the side, and then kind of on the diagonal, we've got the neck looking up, and then we've got the eyes looking up too. So this is kind of a nice eye exercise. Then we're pulling that skin down here to give our exposed neck just a little bit added skin stretching. So this is a skin stretching exercise. Good. All right. And then we're doing it the other way on the diagonal, looking up and stretching that skin around our collarbone. There. Okay. And now we're going to come up. Good. Now we've done it all directions. Well, no, we'll look to the right, and then we'll look to the left, or right and left, whichever right and left you have. I have the opposite one, I think. And we're just looking back and forth. And we're continuing to breathe and feel present. Good. Now, if you are up for it, we're going to start the round the world with our neck, just very gently. And if you feel pain, don't do this. All right. But I have to say, and then I'm going to go back in the same direction. I'm just going quite slowly around and then back in the same direction towards the front. Now, by the time I get to this, after doing all of those exercises, I find the noisiness of my neck has calmed down and I feel much better. Okay, good. Now, you can jiggle your shoulders around once more, back and forth, forward, again, and you can shake out a little bit. All right, good. Now, we're going to work a little bit with our arms, and we're going to just stretch our arms out and put our palms up, and then we're going to just touch our head. This is kind of Ms. Simon says. And then we're going to, so these are good for your elbow joints. And then we're going to touch our nose. And then we're going to touch our mouth. And then we're going to touch our ears. And then our head, our eyes, nose, mouth, ears. Good. All right, good. And then we're going to bring our arms to the front and we're going to just lift them up and touch our shoulders. Good. Very good. Okay, we're going to lower our hands down. Now we're going to work a little bit on our fingers and hands. So let's make a peace sign, just because there are too many wars in the world. This is also good for your fingers. So, and we can wiggle our fingers here. Okay, make another peace sign, wiggle our fingers. Okay, let's make a rude sign. I can't remember what this means, but I think it's very rude. And we'll wiggle those fingers too. So you put the middle two fingers down with your thumb and then you wiggle those fingers. Good. All right. If you know any other sign, we can the thumbs up, we can wiggle this finger. Good. Thumbs up, we can rotate it around and then the other way and back to the peace fingers. Just wiggle those fingers. They look a little bit like a rabbit here. And good. All right, and now we're going to start flicking our fingers. Now this is really the flick off all of our troubles. So we're going to wrap our fingers around our thumbs and we're going to flick our hands really, and we're really stretching our fingers out. And we're going to hold onto our hands, flick our fingers out. Hold onto our hands, flick our fingers out. Hands, fingers. Flick, flick, flick. This is a flick off movement. Flick off, flick off, flick off, flick off, flick off, flick off. There, good. It's very satisfying, I find. I can think of some things I'd like to flick off. All right, so, and we'll shake our hands out. Good. Now we're just going to take our thumb and draw it towards our wrist with our thumb or finger. So we're just drawing it gently because you don't want to ruin your finger, your thumb. And then we're going to draw the other fingers towards the palm. So I'm just drawing them down here, one at a time. Just drawing them down. There. And this side too. Fingers down towards the palm. So you can feel a stretching in your fingers there. And now I'm just going to take the whole, I'm just going to put one hand on the other hand, and I'm going to draw the fingers towards the wrist here. And I'm just going to manipulate it a little bit. So I'm moving it back and forth. Now I have sore fingers in different places, and I'm sure it's because I spend too much time on my computer. It's quite helpful to do this. Now we can also take our fingers, our forefinger and our thumb, and we can massage that muscle between our forefinger and our thumb. And it's quite painful. It's a little shiatsu spot there. It's quite painful. And my shiatsu masseur told me to do this when I go to the dentist. I push in there, and it's a little bit painful, and it distracts me from my anxiety about being at the dentist. And it does work, actually. Or if I have to get medication shots, then I do this too. Okay, you're just massaging. And then we're going to pull on our thumb, pull on our fingers. And if you have really bad arthritic fingers, you'll know what you can and can't do with them. Okay, and we're going to do the other side now. We're going to bring our thumb down towards our wrist. And then we're going to bring our other fingers down towards our wrist, pushing. And all the time we're supposed to be breathing evenly. It's hard to remind you to do all these things at the same time. I failed. Okay, and now we're going to push our whole palm, our fingers all the way down here. Good. And then we're going to massage this finger, this muscle, this little between the thumb and the forefinger, and we can pull on our fingers here. Just get them much longer than they were before. Mine are now about 10 feet long, my fingers. They've been so relaxed. Now we're going to press into our fingers, and I'm just pressing, and really feeling my fingers stretching, open. Good. And now I'm going to press my wrists together so that they are, and I'm going to wiggle my fingers. I think there's a children's game about the church and the steeple that has to do with this, but I'm just wiggling my fingers. These are a lot of people running in a marathon down below. Good. And now I'm pressing again into my hand, my wrist. I can feel my wrist actually responding to this. And then I'm going to press again into my wrists and wiggle my fingers. I'm drawing my fingers back, as you can see, and trying to keep my elbows level so I'm not cheating. Good. All right. Very good. And then I'm just wiggling my fingers like spiders. Spider. Now I'm going to rotate my wrists. And then my other wrist. Rotate your other wrist the other way. And then this way, round and round. And then the other way. Good. Good. And now I'm going to rotate my elbows around and around. Just lubricate the joints. It's very nice to do that. And then the other way. Good. All right. Excellent work. Now we're going to work a little bit on our feet. Now, if you have shoes on, my seniors class, they all wear their shoes. And so I don't really want to ask them to take off their shoes because then they'd have to put them back on. So I just, but if you have bare feet, I want you to put your big toe into the ground, and then I want you to try and spread your other toes out. Now it takes a long time to learn to spread your toes. So it took me years. So you don't have to feel you can spread your toes right away, but you may be able to. I'm just pressing into my toes here, and I can even lean forward a little bit and really press into my toes. Now, this may not be comfortable, and so you have to decide: is this like excruciatingly painful, or in which case don't do it, or is this just uncomfortable because you need to stretch your toes? So discomfort. Some discomfort means you're actually moving into a place you weren't before, which can be a good thing. So, and you can come out of it, move back, and then you can go into it again and press forward. And you can press down and forward. Good. All right. So we're just going to sit here, and I've got my back straight. I'm actually it's a little bit of a forward bend. I'm hinging at the hip here. So I'm feeling, it's a nice little core exercise too here. Okay, good. And now I'm going to do the other way. So this I really hate. So this is the way you put your toes in, so that you're putting your toes in this way. And this I really do not like. I'm putting my toes, on the fronts of my feet, and I'm leaning forward. Now I'm also holding onto the chair because I want to make sure that I don't don't lean forward too much. But there is some discomfort here because I don't do this enough. And I've broken both my ankles many years ago, and so my feet are always a bit crampy. So it's really good for me to stretch out feet. And by the time we're older or oldest or old or whatever we are at this age, we've walked many miles on our feet. Good. We're pressing into our feet again, and we can come up. So you can do it. Let's come up again, and let's do it one more time, pressing into the tops of our feet, really feeling the opening in them. Good. All right. Now, and I'm going to stamp my feet on the floor, and I'm going to slap my feet on the floor. I'm really going to wait. Wow. Good. All right. Here we go. Now, let's put our legs wide here. Now it depends on your health. One of my seniors said that he explained to me that he wasn't bending over and balance at all, or, not because he couldn't balance, but because he had half a lung and he would pass out. So I said I was very grateful for him telling me about this, and he was not to bend over because I didn't want him to pass out. But so if you have an issue like that, do not do this. But I'm just going to round my back and roll down a bit. Now I'm going to put my hands on my knees, and this might be all you want to do, depending on your ability. And then you can roll back up, and then you can roll back down. Now, if you want to, if you feel, you can slide your hands down your legs and open and lean forward. And you can go down to wherever you feel comfortable. Here we are. And then you can roll back up. All right. So we're just going to do this a few times. We're rolling down, and then we're coming back up. Now this is good for your back, mobility of the spine, and it's also good for your groin because I'm kind of keeping my legs out here, and so it opens your groin up a little bit, which is a good thing for many things. Okay, we're going down again and coming back up. Good. And down again and coming back up. Good. All right. And now we're going to move our feet forward onto the ground. And I'm stretching, I'm moving towards the front of the chair. Maybe I will move this thing over here. So I'm moving to the front of the chair, and I've got my legs straight out, and I've got my back straight, and now I'm sucking in my belly, and I'm going to go down. You might go down to your knees, depending on how you're feeling. And you want to make sure that you're on a stable surface. My chair is on a mat, so it doesn't slip. And then I'm going down like this. And then I'm coming back up. So you can go down to here. That's perfectly fine. If you're going down like that, you could just arch your back, because this is a kind of cat-cow thing where we are developing more spinal mobility. And we'll just rest here with our hands on a nice curve here, inhaling and exhaling and sucking our belly in. So we are imagining that our organs are jewels that we are protecting, and we are sucking our belly in and holding them close to the spine. Okay, good. And now we're going to come up. And now we're going to go down a little bit deeper if we can. And we're sliding down a little bit further. And we're just going to rest here, sucking our belly in. This is nice for the core. And it's a lovely rounding of the spine. And now we're going to come back up. And we're sucking our belly in. And we're going to go down if we can. There's no competition. We'll go down as far as we can. And we're just going to rest here for a moment, sucking our belly in and feeling our breath in the back body. We can breathe right into the back body, inhaling and then exhaling. Inhaling and then exhaling. And now we're going to slide our hands back up and sit up. Good. And we're going to, once again, we're going to feel, move back into the chair. We can feel the back of the chair, and we can once again find our neutral spine. So our neutral spine is not sticking our chin forward, and it's not sticking our chest really forward, and it's not slouching. So our neutral spine is finding that place that allows the kind of natural curvature of the spine to happen. And we're just sitting here breathing. So this is like Tadasana in a yoga practice. So we can press into the floor, and we can really feel the elongation of the spine here. My yoga school I studied at, Octopus Holistic Yoga Center, they talk about axial elongation. So it's the axial spine, which actually includes the bones in your ear. And it goes all the way down, of course, to your coccyx, to your tailbone. And we're just feeling, once again, we're resting here. And it's not even really a rest because it's quite an alert posture, sitting with a neutral spine and feeling that sense of elongation in our spine. And imagining is about, if we think about the way we can heal ourselves simply by imagining ourselves healed, that they say that that's about 30% of, can be 30% of healing. So if we imagine ourselves growing taller and our spine extending, the spaces between our vertebrae expanding, and we're extending upwards, we can imagine that we're 30% taller just by thinking about it. I don't think that's really a good rationale, but oh well. Okay, and now we're going to open our eyes and we're going to come back to being conscious again. Now, we're going to stand up if we can. If we can't, we will, you could do some of these postures just sitting. I'll give you some demonstrations. So I'm just going to the side of my chair. There we go. Get this so that you can see me. All right, so I'm standing at the side of my chair, and I've just got my hand on my hip, and I'm going to just put one arm out, and then I'm going to raise it up, and I'm going to curve over towards the chair, just in an arch. Good, and I'm going to look up towards that hand. It's an, it's an awkward movement, but it's good for your eyes to look up. And then I'm going to come up, and I'm going to do it one more time. Exhaling out and inhaling. Good. Now I'm going to just move a little bit further from there, and I'm going to do a little bit of a warrior here. Now you can do this like this, or you could do it with the chair in front of you. You're not going to be able to see me when I do this, but I'll just show you. So I've got I'm holding onto the chair. I've got my one leg out, the toes are facing towards the side wall, and the back foot is facing in slightly at a diagonal. So I'm taking a fairly wide step here, and I'm just bending into that knee. So this might be too much for you, or it might be just enough. I'll do it with the, here we go. And I'm just going to gently move up and down. So I'm not bouncing, because you don't want to overstretch anything. I'm just bouncing. Sorry, I'm not bouncing. I'm just gently moving up and down. Okay, good. And this leg is turning out, and this leg is turning out. So we've really got a lovely sense of movement in two directions. Yoga is often about opposition. And this asymmetric exercise is good for our brain, because we're moving our body differently on each side. And I'm pushing my thighs back in this back body here, in this back leg rather. So I'm opening a little bit the back of the knee, and I'm just going to stay there. Now, if you want, you can put your arm out, and you can raise it up, and you can lower it down. You can raise it up and lower it down. Raise it up and lower it down. Raise it up and lower it down. And now you're going to wrap it around your body and give your massage your other shoulder. Just massage your other shoulder a bit. Good. Excellent. You can massage your upper arm and your shoulder, and then you're going to open it out. And then you're going to do that again. Wrap it around, and really wrap it around as much as you can to your other arm, and massage your shoulder. And all the time. Okay, and you can come up because you might be really stiff. All right, and you can open it out and come down. All right, so now I'm going to just lean over. You can adjust your feet if they're uncomfortable. So maybe come out of that if you're not used to being in that strange posture. So you can put your leg out and your other leg back about, say, about 3 feet or something like that, or 4 feet. And then you're going to just tip your hip out. So I've got my ample hip here, and I've just got my hand in this hip dip, and I'm pushing it forward. So I'm really pushing this hip out. And then I'm just going to elongate a bit. So I can drape my hand over here or hold on to it, whatever feels comfortable. And I've got this lovely stretch in this front leg. And good. And you can lift this leg, this arm up and look up. So this is a kind of modified triangle pose. All right. So these might be too much for you. If they're too much for you, just go back and do some of the exercises on the chair that we did earlier. All right. Then we're going to come up. Now we're going to turn our body. So we were facing the front, right? These hips were facing the front. Now we're going to turn our body, and we're going to move into the towards the chair, and we've got a shorter stance here. And once again, the front foot is facing that wall, the back foot is on the diagonal, and our hips here are facing that wall. So we're just going to dip forward and hinging at the hips with a straight back, and we can walk our hands down the chair, and we can use our hand, that the front leg, we can use our thumb again, and we can draw that front hip back. It's a very lovely movement, actually, that. And once again, we're keeping both legs straight. We're pressing the thighs back, and we're trying to keep the back straight. And we're just going to breathe here. Now, there are other possibilities here. You could drop your hand down onto a block and twist, but we're not going to do that today because this is chair yoga, and I'm conscious of the fact that these might be quite challenging postures just the way they are. But this is called pyramid pose. And now we're going to come up. Good. Very good. And we're going to come and stand in the center, and hopefully your legs feel good, a little bit stretched on one side. We're going to go to the other side here. Here we are. Okay. So holding on to this, and we're going to put our one leg, the front leg, with the toes pointing towards that wall. We can lift the toes out and stretch them. That's a very Iyengar thing to do. And we're going to put our back leg back about 3 feet, or whatever feels comfortable. And we're going to bend that front knee. And I have to move my leg to get, you wiggle around till you feel comfortable. And both of my hip bones are facing the front as much as possible. Obviously I'm moving a little bit in that direction. And I'm feeling my thighs open here, and I'm holding on here. And I'm just allowing myself to bend down. And all the time rotating these legs, these thighs, my ample thighs around. And I am feeling this back leg very straight. I'm pressing into the outer edge of this back foot right down here. Pressing, I can lift my toes up on both sides and lift my arm up, and I can lift my arm up, and I can move it down, I can move it up, and I can move it down. And as a variation, we can slide our arm along the chair and move it over onto the diagonal. So this is a very lovely pose. And we feel a diagonal from the tip top of our fingers to the back edge of our back foot. And then we can rotate up and look up. Okay, good. Now that's a more advanced posture, so you might find it a bit much. Okay, now we're going to come back, straighten the front leg, and we're going to slide, I'm just going to slide my hand down the chair and hold on to a lower part of it and put my hand up. All right, and look up. So this would be a triangle pose. And now we're going to come back up and hold on to the chair. And I'm going to wiggle my feet back in. And I'm just going to take a little bit of a rest here because that's a lot of effort. And then I'm going to, and I'll invite you to put one foot in front once again, and then a smaller stance, a smaller stance here, smaller separation of the feet. And we're going to do this pyramid pose, and you have to move back a little bit. So you can, and I'm hinging at the hip, I'm taking my hand here, and I'm rotating my hips so they face the chair, face the side wall, and then I'm holding on and I'm just tipping forward and pressing that front hip back. Good. There we go. Right. And once again, if this is too much for you, you can go stay on the chair and do those other exercises we were doing earlier. And I've got my back is straight, and I'm sucking my belly in here again, protecting those beautiful jewels, pressing them to the back of my spine. Good. And now I'm going to tilt back up and come back. Okay, now, how are we doing? We've got a bit of time here. We're going to do some balances, and my balance is just frankly atrocious, but I work on it regularly, and I'm going to just press my one toe into the ground, and then I'm going to press the other toe into the ground, and I'm just going to go back and forth, up and down, one heel down, one toe up, one heel down, one toe up, back and forth. Good. Very good. Now we're going to try both toes up, and I'm going to try to lift my hand up. I'm just going to lift it up and then put it down. Lift it up and put it down. Lift it up, put it down. So you can work on your balance endlessly like this. Good. And now we're going to go back and I'm going to lift my toes up, and I'm going to do the same thing. This is actually even harder. Okay. Good. Okay, good. Now, and we're going to go back to this for a minute just to stretch my toes out again. Now I'll invite you to lift your outer leg up and then back, up and back, and back, up and back. Good. And now I'll invite you to lift it up and turn it out, and then back again, and down, and up, out, back again, and down, out, back again, and down. Good. Now, at this point, I'm going to draw my foot up my shin. And it may be that you want to stop here. It may be you want to stop here. It may be that you can go all the way up to here. So whatever is good for you. I'm just going to leave my foot down here. And I'm going to just, no hands. Look, Ma, no hands for a second or two. Okay, good. And if you can bring your hands into prayer position here. Although since this is chair yoga, I would keep your one hand on your thing, and you can just put one hand on your chest if you like, one hand on your waist, one hand on your head. Good. All right. Good. And now we're going to go to the other side. So I'll just move the chair around here. Okay, so we're just going to lift the outer knee up, and then we're going to extend it back, outer knee up, extend it back, up and back, up and back. And now we're going to lift the knee up and then bring it to the side, keeping both hips facing the front, and then back again. The side and then back again. So this is a lovely sort of lubrication of the hip here. I'm going to put the leg down and I'm going to lift it up. Once again, you can lift it all the way up to here if you like, or you can, and if you're doing this, you're pressing the foot in here and you're pressing the hip out. So you're pressing into each other. And the same thing here, you're pressing into your shin and you're pressing the shin in the other direction. So there's lovely oppositional force there. And then we're going to let go. And you can just play with it. Good. And we're breathing here. We're feeling ourselves centered in the body. Centered in the body. And you can maybe do this or not. Decide what you want to do. Good. All right, we're going to lower our foot down. Good. Now, we can also do, what else can we do here? We could do a little bit of a forward bend here. So I'm going to hinge at the hip again, and I'm just going to bend forward. And then I'm just going to dangle. So this is not good if you have high blood pressure, etc., etc. But you can dangle here and hold on. And dangling is actually, it's part of the sun salutation. But dangling, the term comes from yin yoga, and it is an inversion. So not everyone wants to do inversions because of your blood pressure, or you may have problems breathing or whatever. But if you feel you're up for it, dangling is a good thing. And you can hold on to the chair just so that you have some balance here. And if you like, you can really feel your breath in your back body. So you're inhaling into your back body, and then you're exhaling. You're inhaling into your back body, and then you're exhaling. Inhaling, and then we're going to sigh. All the breath out. And inhaling and sighing. All the breath out. Inhaling, all of the breath out. Exhaling, sighing. Whew. Inhaling, and then exhaling, all the breath out. Good. And now we're just going to hinge at the hip, and we're going to just come up with a straight back, holding onto the chair. There we go. Good. Now we're going to go back to the chair for our final relaxation, and I will find something delicious to read to you while we're relaxing. So once again, we've got our feet on the floor, flat on the floor, and our chair. We're comfortable in our chair. We've really settled in. We're really finding the ground of our chair. If you can't put your feet flat on the floor, once again, put a book underneath it so you can really press into the floor. All right. Now, at this stage, we're right at the very end of our class. We should be able to do a kind of body scan and feel a difference between the beginning of the class and now. So it's not I want you to just to close your eyes, and I want you to feel a sense of inhabiting your body, of just being in your body. So that means that we can feel our toes tapping slightly on the floor. We can feel our heels lifting up and down on the floor. We can feel our knees wiggling back and forth a little, and our thighs. We can feel our pelvis towards the floor, and our hips. We're just moving slightly, just feeling ourselves settling in to this place and this moment. And we'll feel our waist It's just wiggling slightly. Our chest is wiggling slightly. And our shoulders, our hands, we're shaking our shoulders, our hands gently by our side. And then we're letting it go. So as we're shaking and jiggling, we're letting everything go. And we're lifting our shoulders up slightly, rounding them back, and then dropping them. Do that one more time. We're lifting our shoulders up, rounding them back, and then dropping them. We're feeling our head move slightly from side to side. And then we are just resting. We can imagine the skin on our scalp settling down, smoothing out down towards the outer part of our eyes, the skin on our cheeks, relaxing, letting go, moving down towards our chin. We can feel our lips slightly parted, our tongue settling slightly into the bottom jaw. And we really feel a sense of release and letting go. We're breathing easily here, inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. And I'm just going to let you settle in, eyes closed, inhaling and exhaling at your own pace. I'm going to leave you in silence for a moment, and then I will read something. Just know, just now, there is neither heaven nor earth, only snow falling constantly. Kajiwara Hashin. This is an old Japanese haiku from 1864. It is the only poem of Hashkin's that has survived. You may think, isn't that nice? The snow is always falling. But let's change that a little bit. Suppose I'm sick and this poem went, there is neither heaven nor earth, only illness pounding steadily, or there is neither heaven nor earth, only old age approaching steadily. Sometimes people come into the Zen Center and ask me if I know the meaning of life. Well, of course, I do. Only snow falling constantly. There is only illness, only separation, only clouds, happening and happening and happening. Life isn't miserable or terrible, it's just what it is. And that can take the form of severe misery at times, tremendous joy at other times, or some feeling between the two. There is neither heaven nor earth, just poached eggs sitting on the table, whatever it is, right here. There is neither heaven nor earth, only blank. Only you know what you fill in here. People sometimes bring up the word enlightenment, but enlightenment isn't something we march toward and one day somehow we grab it. Enlightenment is the ending in yourself of that hope for something other than life being as it is. I'll read that again. But enlightenment isn't something we march toward and one day somehow we grab it. Enlightenment is the ending in yourself of that hope for something other than life being as it is. So we're sitting here together in community, connected through digital time, through space, through a voice, through our movements together. Our feet are planted in the ground like tree roots, and we can imagine, like trees, those rhizomatic networks of connection that go deep underground, connecting us all together, are allowing us to feel what it is to be together in community. In this very moment, breathing. We can now feel our toes again, the fingers moving, those rhizomatic electrical impulses that keep us all alive, moving through our body, up our spine, into our arms, legs, our head. Our eyes can blink open. We can sigh. Ah. And here we are. We can lift our shoulders up. We can open our palms up. We can stretch our arms up, stretching our fingers to the ceiling. We can stretch our toes out, stretching our toes, and opening our arms up, stretching, rotating our wrists and our feet, and then just settling back into our chair. And I want to thank you all for being here with me for the last hour and for the discipline of coming to your mat and your chair and devoting this time to your well-being. We can't all solve the world's problems, but we can find joy in every moment. So I want to dedicate the merit of this practice to all of us here, to our health and well-being, and to the health and well-being of all living things. Thank you for joining me. The teacher in me salutes the teacher in you, and the student in me salutes the student in you. Deep bow. So I'm going to stay on after I stop the recording if you want to chat.